Oh, hello. That shit was loud. Hey. I hate to say that I popped up on your recommended for you to be the bearer of bad news. That what you see on TikTok and Instagram coined as natural beauty, hashtag I woke up like this, all natural, didn't do nothing at all, this is me, all in my glory, take it or leave it, is a goddamn lie. Not a lie in the sense of that we're not beautiful without makeup, because we are. I'm talking about these pictures and videos that you see on social media of these celebrities and influencers and models rocking the no makeup looks, or actually showcasing their faces without makeup, but still seem so proportionately perfect in every single way in comparison to us normies that when we see this shit makes us feel like a Wendy's baked potato. And we're made to feel this way on purpose. These famous people that are pushed onto your screens, trying to convince you that they got this way with little to no effort, sets us up for unrealistic expectations of how we're supposed to look, when in reality these celebrities, influencers, models, or whoever else they are using filters, have been photoshopped, have had work done on their face, and what you see of these so-called flawless people is a completely curated and fabricated, falsified picture of what the beauty industry has crafted as an ideal for people to obtain that allows them to profit off the insecurities they breed in people who consume these flawless individuals. So they receive the message that if they don't have these so-called famous persons' glowy skin, hair texture, and makeup products, or whatever else it is that influences them to call these people perfect, so unreal, that their natural is gross and disgusting and that nobody will find them beautiful because they don't look like someone who doesn't even exist. Now, I'm not shaming anybody who loves to express themselves through hair and makeup or any other form of self-styling, because shit, look at me. And if you see my other videos, you know I like to express how I'm feeling by doing my hair and makeup. That's a personal choice of mine, and it makes me feel good and makes me feel confident. And if you were to ask any other woman who does her hair and makeup on the regular, they would probably say that too. That doing your hair a certain way or putting on makeup is a real confidence booster. And if you've had work done on your face, not shaming you either, I'm speaking on the toxic beauty standards that are set by an entire industry that keeps us in this loop of feeling like we're not good enough because we don't look like rich and famous people who have the money and resources to alter themselves into Barbie dolls. And it's even worse with social media because of all these Photoshop apps that are available now to anyone who wants to dramatically alter their appearance in photos and videos. And it's become so normalized now that it's gotten to the point where people don't know what a real person looks like anymore. It's about to get worse with the rise of AI-generated images of perfect people that are circulating around online and making their way into our feeds every single day. Again, not real people, but except really not real people. They were birthed from a computer, not a human birth canal. We really just need to have a sit-down chat today and have a conversation about the nature of the beauty industry and how they stay rich from our insecurities, as well as look at some specific examples that have warped our natural perception about what natural beauty really looks like. And finally, we got to discuss how we can maintain our sanity and confidence in a world that tells us we can't be shiny, radiant beings without 5 pounds of makeup, all the medical procedures and digital alterations up the wazoo. Now, throughout history, we have been fed so many opinions and narratives about what beauty really is and how it's defined as true. And the conflicting things that we're told about it throughout our lives is to blame for the negative impacts that it's had on us, like body dysmorphia, feeling like we need to look a certain way in order to gain love and approval from others, and how society ranks our humanity based on whether or not we fit the current attractive mold. Talking about this is giving me the feminine urge to go back in time and look at how beauty standards have changed throughout the centuries, from the dawn of ancient civilization to the present day moment. Now, the obsession with beauty can be traced back to the days of ancient Greece, where beauty had strong mathematical foundations, like symmetrical faces, as well as in polarizations like all white skin, big noses, and full figures. In the days of ancient Greece, if you had pale skin, you were thought of as high status and worthy of great respect because the rich didn't spend time working outdoors and getting a darker skin complexion by the sun like their servants did. So this is one of the early examples of toxic beauty standards Now, when we fast forward to medieval Europe, women plucked their hairlines to appear more aristocratic because high foreheads were in at the time of the Renaissance. The Botticelli's Venus image was the much chased after ideal. Very curvy, very soft bodies. The makeup they used back then contained white lead, which not only could cause death in extreme situations, but also skin damage and hair loss. This was the start of women literally trying to poison themselves to be deemed as worthy human beings in their culture. Now, when we jump to the Victorian era, where the modest is the hottest, being covered in layer on top of layer on top of layers of clothing, as well as the wretched ass corsets that were wound up so tight that it caused bodily injury to the internal organs, from broken ribs to shifted anatomy, to create impossibly thin, pencil thin waists. And the couches you see in paintings and pictures from those decades, they're called fainting couches for the very reason of giving these women a place to rest when they were going to pass out from injury or sickness from being locked up in these abdominal cloth cages. But if we hop forward a bit to the 1920s and the flapper era, where beauty was introduced as collateral for capitalism, which we better know today as the beauty industry, we were introduced to the idea that beauty commodities could fix you. It was the beginning of the cultural notion that if you are not the ideal, then something is wrong with you. And unless you look pretty, you're a worthless piece of shit. So when we look at the 1950s, we're seeing the idolization of the hourglass figure, like the one that Marilyn Monroe had. And then by the 60s and 70s, that ideal switched to thin frames and long legs, which paved the way for the popular 90s heroin chick look. Sunken eyes, skin and bones, the starved look, if you will. So when the 2000s rolled around, the obsession with wanting to be a size 0, thigh gaps, and extreme Photoshop. Also the decade where social media really took off, with even more opportunities of comparison to steal your joy. And when we look at where we are right now, with trends like body positivity, diversity, inclusivity, we're being exposed to more diverse faces and more sizes. True, it seems like we're headed in the right direction. But to quote my favorite college professor, she once said in reference to beauty inclusivity, we still got a long way to go. And that was 10 years ago, and that sentiment still holds up today. With the stuff that I mentioned before in the beginning, with filters, Photoshop apps, surgical and chemical enhancements that have destroyed the human perception of what it looks like to be a bare-faced, unfiltered, undoctored person, which leads me in to discuss the consequences of the result of what's been pushed onto us by media as natural or a natural makeup look. Let me tell you, it's sad as the first person that comes to mind when talking about how people don't know what natural means anymore is Pamela Anderson. If you've been very active online for the past year, then you probably know what I'm talking about. Pamela Anderson not wearing makeup anymore, not even to red carpets. I'll let her explain why, because I believe in people speaking for themselves.
And I feel free. I mean, it's taken a while too. I've had my little, journey with it, but I'm just like, we all are our own worst critics. I was at Paris Fashion Week and I decided I was just going to a fashion show. I didn't need to compete with anybody. Like, why am I wasting 3 hours in a makeup chair when I have these beautiful Vivienne Westwood clothes on? And I didn't realize anyone would even notice. So I thought, then when people started coming up to me and talking about it, I thought, well, this is a great message. This is to really peel it back and find out who I was again. I wanted to remember who I was. I found I played characters my whole life. I always wanted to be, I was painfully shy as a kid. And doing Playboy, for instance, was a huge leap of faith for me. It just, I was physically sick doing it, but I just didn't want to be shy anymore. And then I became, I just thought, oh, this is what my fantasy of what a model is, or a playmate is, or a rock star wife is, or what anything is. I'm going to do it the best. And I've been playing these characters along the way, and it just hit me a couple of years ago, and I was like, just shaking my head going, who am I? And that's when I went home into my garden and started, planting things and getting into nature and going back to the trees that knew me since birth. I bought my grandmother's property and renovated it. And I just started taking it all back and then started peeking out without makeup. And then I started realizing, oh, I feel great as me. Mm-hmm. And I don't want people to think of me as all those cartoon characters I kind of created for protection or for, that's what I think I did it for, looking back. But this is the best time in my life. I feel so empowered and so free and so excited about life again.
Snaps. Snaps, Pamela Anderson. Get some snaps for Pamela Anderson. Because that's amazing. I'm happy for her, and you should feel happy for her too. That she feels like herself again, and she doesn't feel the need to wear makeup if she don't want to. And she's still gorgeous. But look what happens when she decides to post a video online of her just getting ready for a calm, chill day, not needing to get all fancy and dolled up because she's not about that life anymore. Look at these nasty comments about her appearance.
She looks like she is 70. She looks really old. She's not that old. Tales from the Crypt. She looks bland and old, needs makeup. OMG looks creepy. Bye-bye amazing body and welcome reality. These are some negative comments that Pamela Anderson received after showing herself au naturel on Instagram.
The only ugly thing I see is the misogyny in those comments. It illustrates the harsh reality of how we look to celebrities and public figures to be a human ideal. For years, Pamela Anderson was portrayed as this perfect, blonde, sexy bombshell every macho man thirsted after, with an aesthetic look that insecure women aggressively envied, but secretly wanted to imitate. But now that she's down from the pedestal she was put on and is showing up as herself and comfortable in her own skin, not feeling the need to live up to people's fantasies anymore, choosing not to wear makeup, showing the public she's just a person like them, people lose their goddamn minds because they're reminded of their perceived averageness. And we see the same disappointment in the consumption of celebrity beauty brands. Fans of these famous people buy these products because they're marketed as a promise to look like said celebrity if they buy from their line. And it's more convincing now more than ever with these celebrities doing shit like Get Ready With Me's using the products from their own beauty brands, showcasing the product's effects on their own bodies as proof to say, yes, this product works because it works on me. The personification of unattainable. But with the information that these advertisers and marketers don't let the public in on is that these celebrities have a team of makeup artists, facialists, plastic surgeons, photographers, videographers, trainers, dietitians that make these celebrities look the way that they do. The products these celebrities sell from their own beauty brands plays less than a 1% role in how they look. And some of them may not even use the products at all if we're being quite honest. The access that these celebrities have to medical procedures, diets, and the best, most expensive beauticians are not available to the average person. So of course you're not going to look like your favorite celebrity, even if you buy all the products from their beauty line. Now, some people may argue about how beauty industries are trying to be more inclusive with all the types of people, not just the so-called perfect looking ones. With the models we're seeing now that have vitiligo, maybe they have acne, maybe they have a prominent birthmark on their face. From an outside perspective, looks good, but the beauty industry still has its biases about what different kinds of looks they allow to be showcased in their media marketing. What do I mean by that? Let me show you yet another TikTok. Don't worry, I don't get all of my sources from TikTok, but you gotta admit, TikTok is convenient as for finding sources. This is from a user, I Understood, where she explains how the beauty industry's attempt to be inclusive of everybody is only limited to a certain amount of people.
This is why beauty will never actually be inclusive, and the project of inclusion in beauty is actually a myth designed to make us think that more people can be included, but what we can be included in is the logic of consumerism and being marketed to. What we can't be included in is fundamentally being seen as beautiful. Okay, listen to this. So let's say this is beautiful people as defined by Eurocentric beauty standards, thin, white people, and so on. What is happening over time is they're expanding this to include more people, right? To include more black people, to include more fat people. But actually, they're doing it in a way that reaffirms the logic of the center. It's like an algorithm of beauty. When they include black people, they're going to mostly include light-skinned and or mixed-race people. When they do include dark-skinned people, they need to be thin, and they definitely need to be able-bodied. And so there's all these if-then, unless-if, blah, 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 blah. Like, you can be fat, but you can't be too fat. You can be disabled, but it should be invisible, right? Like, there's so many ways that it's just expanding a little bit, and it's always going to do the minimal viable, like, option. So it's just going to slightly expand so that it never actually subsumes everyone. If it were inclusive, everyone could be involved in it. But then the construct itself would collapse. Because then if everyone was beautiful, if it was just like this, Why would we even need the concept of beauty? And I don't mean like there is beauty in everyone. Absolutely. I'm not saying that that's not possible. We can see the beauty in everyone. But I'm saying beauty as a construct that is leveraged under capitalism and consumerism to sell us things that we don't need. They can't convince us that we're not enough if everyone sees themselves as enough. Therefore, only these people get to see themselves as enough. And the gag is they don't even, I'm not blaming them. It's because of the way that the logic has been constructed. But anyway, all I'm saying is they cannot afford for everyone to see themselves as beautiful.
I understood. I don't know what you're thinking right about now, but I'd be thinking right now external beauty is just a myth. All of it. There's no such thing as external beauty. Take with that what you will. So how in the ever-loving can we maintain our sanity in a world of impossible to obtain beauty standards? When beauty inclusivity efforts have failed in social media, where we're most often exposed to them, is inescapable. And I don't want to give you the cliche answer of stay off social media because it's 2025. Social media at this point is a necessary evil to stay connected to the outside world, unfortunately. But I will definitely say be more mindful of who you follow and keep up with on social media. Stop following celebrities. Stop following influencers because the content that you're consuming from them is intentionally crafted to not look like us normies. It sets you up for unrealistic expectations about what society thinks that you should look like as opposed to what makes you feel empowered and comfortable. If you're going to use social media, use it for what it was intended to be meant for. Keeping up with old friends and peers. You know, people you know in your real life that look like actual people. Or to showcase your talent and creativity, or whatever the else you used social media for in the late 2000s, early 2010s. That's the digital landscape that needs to come back. Sans the harassment and lack of privacy, of course. The part of the internet that was made for connection is gone because we're inundated with ads and sponsored posts containing these picture-perfect people that nobody looks like or can relate to. And I think it's also important to note, too, that cameras don't capture an accurate picture of a person. If you've ever looked in the mirror and like what you see, but then you take a picture and then you're like, what the That's not what I saw in the mirror. You have been validated because I found an article describing this exact phenomenon. When we look in a mirror, we see a reflection of ourselves, which is a reversed image of ourselves, processed by our brains as a familiar, correct representation. Our brains interpret it as a real image of our appearance. However, when we see a photo, we look at a 2D representation of ourselves, which is not reversed and can look different from what we see in the mirror, and we're not used to the reversed face in the photo. We don't have a symmetrical face that shows no differences when it's reversed. This can make our appearance appear unfamiliar or even wrong to our brain. This is because of what we call the exposure effect. I've linked that article down below if you have time and want to read the whole article and read more in detail about how the 2D representation isn't actually what we look like. But I have just one last thing to say before I wrap up this video, and that is stop comparing yourself to fake people and remind yourself of something that I always tell myself. When I see a picture or video of me that I hate, and it's that cameras are mean, and that if you don't like what you see, just remember that what you're seeing is not an accurate picture of what you look like in real life. And most importantly, how you see yourself is not how others see you. I have a friend who is absolutely gorgeous. She could literally be a Jennifer Aniston tribute artist if she wanted to. And she hates to see pictures and videos of herself, which is shocking to me because of how stunning I think she is. You really want to die on me now. You know Judge Judy's quote?
Beauty fades. Dumb is forever.
And Judge Judy never lied, so we're all gonna get old. We all have cellulite. We all have different hair textures and skin tones, but it's inner beauty that we cultivate after a while of maturing and developing the confidence to stop impressing people that don't matter, that really starts to radiate outward over time, that creates this bright, inviting glow that people can't help but just gravitate towards, whether you fit society's ideal type of beauty or not. That's just a mouthful's non-cliche way to say that true beauty starts from within. So if you really want to be beautiful, like actually beautiful and not superficially beautiful, start with yourself, please. Think of non-physical reasons why the people in your life love you, and start seeing yourself through their eyes and become the person that they see you as. And I promise you, it will show on the outside. But that's just my definition of true beauty. Let me know what it means for you down in the comments. Otherwise, thank you for watching today's video and watching till the very end. Give this video a thumbs up, and if you and I are vibing, then let us vibe some more in the future when you hit that button on your screen that says subscribe. You want to know how easy it is to do? You just click it like this. Ping! And when you do that, you get a notification saying I got a new video. So cool, right? Ain't that some cool shit? See you in the next video, hopefully. Bye!